According to Assertive Classroom Management Strategies and Student Performances, classroom management embodies establishing rules to organize the class, to plan materials and activities, and to explain instructions and consequences of acting up. They also state that it embodies the things that a teacher does to organize students' space, time, and materials so that instruction and content and student learning can take place. So how exactly does a teacher decide which strategy to utilize? Should they combine multiple strategies, or should they stick strictly to one? All strategies have their positive and negatives, but today we're going to be discussing one particularly helpful strategy called the assertive discipline strategy. Now, typically the word assertive has very negative connotations, but the assertive discipline strategy, which was developed in the mid-1970s as a very authoritarian strategy, has developed into a very democratic and respectful form of instruction. So what exactly is an assertive discipline strategy? Under the strategy, teachers are in charge of the classroom, and they take structured and systematic approaches to running the classroom. Rather than being passive and timid, or the stereotypical sarcastic and mean, assertive teachers are confident and efficient, and they enforce rules consistently and react with positive and negative reinforcements. One particularly helpful study was conducted by 2 English teachers in Iran. They sought out to discover if assertive discipline strategies actually had a positive or negative impact on students. They conducted a survey in which 123 female high school students participated. They filled out a questionnaire judging their teachers' techniques and attitudes, and they also wrote about their sanction and reward strategies. After conducting these surveys and testing the validity of them, researchers discovered that high test scores indicated a well-managed classroom and more assertiveness in the classroom, and thus lower test scores indicated a poorly managed classroom and less assertiveness. In conclusion, these researchers found a positive correlation between assertive discipline strategies and English test scores. In our second study, a student teacher entering her first grade classroom realized that her mentor's previous unnamed strategy was not quite working as well as she had hoped. After receiving approval from her mentor, Catherine, which is the student teacher's pseudonym, began teaching her students her new rules, rewards, and negative consequences. She went in wondering if these young students could adapt to this assertive strategy after being taught by a passive teacher. Catherine quickly began to place a great focus on positive and negative reinforcements in her classroom to ensure that students would comply with the rules. For a positive reinforcement, Catherine would allow students to write on the board, but if they didn't comply with the rules, she would sit them in timeout. Although she was a very compassionate teacher, she also consistently stuck with her own rules and made sure that the students followed them. Catherine found that the students adapted very quickly to this technique, and they responded to the rules in a very positive manner. Researchers came to Catherine's classroom 5 times to study her progress, and they also found that the students complied with the rules quite well. In addition, they found that the students and teacher had a very visible and mutual respect for one another. As you now know, the assertive discipline strategy is not the hostile, sarcastic teacher strategy or the authoritative strategy it may have used to have been. Instead, over the years, teachers have used their own moral compasses to adapt and change the strategy in ways that best fit themselves, their students, and their overall classroom. The positive and negative consequences, reinforcement of rules, and understanding of teacher and student dynamic creates an atmosphere that actually allows for student learning and effective teaching. These 2 studies actually prove that the assertive discipline strategy is adaptable and useful, and it is beneficial for the students as well as the instructor. This strategy teaches students to abide by the rules, allows their professional skills to grow, pushes a respectful relationship between student and teacher, and it allows the teacher to convey the subject material in the most effective manner. Now that you know and understand what an assertive discipline strategy entails, I do hope that you consider using it in conjunction with other strategies in your own classrooms.